Nestled in central Greece, rising dramatically atop nearly 600-meter tall natural sandstone pillars, stands one of the most extraordinary places in the world, Meteora. The story begins in the 9th century when hermit monks seeking solitude and spiritual isolation settled in the caves of these cliffs. They lived lives of deep prayer and seclusion, climbing the rocks with extraordinary determination. However, the organized monastic community began to form in the 14th century. During this time, the Byzantine Empire was weakening, and political instability along the increasing Ottoman expansion threatened religious communities throughout Greece. Seeking safety and protection, monks chose the nearly inaccessible cliffs of Meteora as their refuge. The height provided both isolation and security. After a peaceful night in Kalambaka, we wake up early at Amalia Hotel. The morning begins with a warm and comforting breakfast. Today we are finally heading to the breathtaking Meteora Monasteries. The word Meteora means suspended in the air, and as the massive rock formations appear before us, the name makes perfect sense. These natural sandstone pillars were formed over millions of years through geological processes and erosions. Before reaching the monasteries, we stopped at a small Byzantine art workshop. Here we saw traditional religious icon paintings being created using centuries-old techniques. The artist explained how each icon is painted step by step, following strict orthodox traditions. These are not just paintings, they are sacred representations carefully crafted with gold leaf and natural pigments. It gives us a deeper appreciation of spiritual heritage of this region. After that, we continued our journey upward. Out of the 6 active monasteries in Meteora, we visited 2, Saint Stephen and Rozanu Monastery. As our bus was making its way towards them, we stopped at several viewpoints along the winding road. From there, we admired the other monasteries from a distance, standing high on their dramatic rock pillars. Even before reaching the ones we entered, the journey itself had already become a beautiful experience. In the late 14th century, monks began building monasteries on these towering rocks, and over time, nearly 24 of them stood here in Meteora. Today, only 6 of them remain active, while the others have either fallen into ruins or are no longer functioning. We have arrived right in front of Saint Stephen Monastery. This is actually the only monastery among the 6 active ones that doesn't require climbing a long flight of stairs. Unlike the others, which involves quite a bit of uphill walking, St. Stephen is much easier to access. So, if you are visiting Meteora and prefer a more comfortable entry, this is definitely the most convenient monastery to explore. After visiting Saint Stephen, we continued our journey towards Rusanu Monastery. The road from Saint Stephen to Rusanu was absolutely beautiful. As our bus slowly moved along the winding mountain road, the landscape kept changing with every turn. Towering rock pillars rose dramatically on both sides, and the valley stretched endlessly below. At certain bends in the road, we could already see Rusanu in the distance, standing gracefully on top of a narrow rock column, almost suspended between earth and sky. It felt like we were driving through a dream. Soon we reached the parking area, and from there we walked towards the monastery. Unlike Saint Stephen, reaching Rusanu required climbing several steps. From here the monastery looks very close, but the path is not straight. First we walk down through a shaded path surrounded by trees and rocks. It feels calm and quiet. For a moment it seems like we are going away from the monastery. Then we reach the staircase. As we climb, the view behind us becomes more open and beautiful. And finally we reached the entrance of Rusanu Monastery. Standing there, surrounded by silence and sky, we once again felt as if we had stepped into a living painting. It dates back to the 16th century, and today it is home to a community of nuns. The monastery is beautifully maintained with peaceful courtyards and breathtaking views all around. And with that, our visit to the Meteora Monasteries came to an end. We were heading back towards Hotel Amalia, taking in the dramatic landscape one last time as the towering rock pillars slowly disappeared behind us. Our main tour operator in Greece was Vikings Navita, but for our 4-day classical Greece land tour, Vikings Navita had partnered with Chat Tours. And here in Meteora, our classical land tour with Chat Tours comes to an end. On the way, we stopped for lunch along the road. It was a perfect little pause after such a beautiful and memorable morning in Meteora. So, after finishing our visit to the Meteora Monasteries and lunch with Chat Tours, we returned to Amalia Hotel Meteora. And as soon as we arrived at the hotel, we saw that the car arranged by Vikings Navita was already there waiting for us. We carefully checked that all our luggage had been properly loaded into the car and made sure everything was in order. And from there, we continued our journey towards the beautiful mountain town of Metsovo in Greece. I have already shared that video of Metsovo on my channel, and if you enjoy my travel journeys and would like to stay updated with new adventures, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.